My name is Theriot, and today I am joined by my wife, Sara Theriot, and today we're going to be talking about prenatal exercising, prenatal fitness, and she will be the expert on this because not only she's my wife, she's also the mother of our 3-year-old boy, and we have another child coming on the way, a little baby girl. On top of that, she has trained other women before and during pregnancy. She's a personal trainer at Timberline Fitness. She's also a Peak Pilates certified Pilates instructor and a balanced body yoga instructor. So everything you like to do for fitness, she knows it, she's done it, and has dealt with many of the different situations that come up that we'll be discussing later on in the podcast. So Sara, did I miss anything?
No, that's all of it. That sounds pretty good.
So tell me, you started off, someone comes to you, let's say before they're pregnant. What's the first plan of action? Someone who hasn't worked out.
I think that's the best time to start working out.
Well, so what's the what if they're already pregnant and they say, I want to start working out? Is there a problem there?
The first thing I always ask if somebody comes to me and they're pregnant and they want to work out is if they've talked with a physician, see if they're healthy enough to work out in the first place.
Because that's when like the bed rest stuff happens, when they try to work out and stress themselves while they're already pregnant and they don't have any past experience with working out.
Well, that and the first trimester is also very delicate. It's a delicate part of pregnancy. A lot can go wrong in the first trimester.
Like what?
Well, the main one is miscarriage, not to scare anybody, but you just want to make sure that you've gotten the green light from your doctor before you start any sort of workout routine while you're pregnant.
And so the doctor, you would just tell them of your past types of physical fitness you've partaken in?
Yeah, your doctor is going to ask you when you're pregnant if you're working out. They'll ask you what your physical fitness is. They might even do like a little like physical on you just to see where you're at. But most doctors will recommend you to work out. It's actually really good for your baby. So
what do doctors recommend as far as workouts?
Well, if you're not a person who works out normally and you're trying to start a workout routine, they'll recommend you start walking, just walking, simple walking, increasing your cardio. Like
30 minutes a day?
Yeah, or even shorter if you can't even do 30 minutes.
That was our dog Penelope. We were recording this at the home studio.
If you can't do 30 minutes, just starting off with as much as you can do without stressing yourself or stressing your body.
Okay. So just based off of their history, you'd say is the number one thing doctors use to determine if someone should seek out a personal trainer, Pilates instructor, as far as continuing their exercise routine, or would they just say, don't even worry about it, just walk?
I think usually if you're a person who is interested in fitness, you're going to ask your doctor. That's probably one of the first things you ask your doctor. I did. I was like, okay, well, what can I continue my workout routine? What do you think? This is what I do. And if you're already pretty physically fit, you can continue doing your exact same routine up until you start getting really uncomfortable and you have to make modifications.
Right. And you always hear the stories about, the woman that ran a marathon the day she gave birth. It's essentially, if you've been doing it and you feel okay, you can just keep doing whatever you've been doing.
That's right. Yeah. For the most part.
Right. The bigger thing I'm thinking about is the women who get pregnant have not been working out in the last, we'll say, year. And the doctor says, yes, you should work out. And they immediately go to maybe a gym and start doing weights at the step mill or something like that.
Okay.
Those are the people I think that need more information, because the stories I've read so much of, someone starts an exercise routine and maybe they push themselves too hard right away because they're worried about the weight gain from pregnancy or being strong enough for delivery, and then they go on like a bed rest type of deal, whether it's temporary or long term. So what for those people, let's target that person. We'll call her Betty. Betty hasn't worked out in a year. She comes to you and says, I'm 10 weeks pregnant. I need to start working out, and the doctor told me to walk, but I feel like I need more than that. How do you handle something like that?
I see.
I bet that's pretty common.
Yeah, so if somebody came to me and they are pretty deconditioned and wanted to start working out at the beginning of their pregnancy, I would kind of just take it really slow with them, starting with a really low weight, seeing what their body could handle. I would check their form with exercises, seeing if they even had good control with certain movements like planks, just trying to gauge where they're at, just how I would any other personal training client. But I would be very careful with the exercises that I've...
Would you start them on weights or cardio or Pilates first?
I would probably start them with Pilates.
So go into that, because I think Pilates is great for women either gearing up to get pregnant or already pregnant. Go into detail about what makes it such a good tool for pregnancy.
Well, I think the most common misconception is that you can't work your core when you're pregnant. And that's just not true. You should work your core when you're pregnant.
Right.
Doctors
don't like that, right?
Well,
Doctors don't like the idea of someone doing core work while they're pregnant, huh?
Well, your core is not just abs, like ab crunches. Your core is also oblique work. It's lateral work. Those are your muscles, your pushing muscles. So those are really important when you're in labor. You need to strengthen up those obliques to push out a baby. So you can do obliques from the very beginning of your pregnancy all the way through the very end of your pregnancy.
So obliques always good.
Yes.
Now, transverse abdominals. When do you... I guess you can do them the whole... Well, not the whole time.
Listen, you have to really listen to your body. There are certain movements you shouldn't do past your second trimester, which would be pretty much after maybe the 13-week mark. And you want to avoid a lot of forward flexion. So a lot of crunching, sit-ups.
That's after the first trimester.
Yeah, the beginning of your second trimester. You want to avoid those kinds of movements. But you can still do planks. You can do planks up until you're, I guess, uncomfortable doing them, until your stomach is just kind of so big that it's not comfortable to do it at all. And you'll know, believe me, you'll know when it's time to stop with that.
Are you talking about elbows down planks or like upside down on a Bosu ball planks, like reverse planks?
No, like hands extended, facing the floor, regular plank.
Yeah. All right. So back to Betty.
Uh-huh.
You got in, you evaluated Betty, light weights, and you see how she responds. And let's say it's just vanilla, very average, normal, not in great shape, but at least has some balance to her. A little kinesthetic awareness, know how she's doing everything. Where do you go from there? Do you have okay, we're doing this for 6 weeks and then we're switching to this? Or what's your method with that? What direction would you steer her towards? Would it just be Pilates? No. For a majority of it, or?
I would like to start with Pilates only because it gives you a good idea of where you should be moving from your core, improving your balance first, improving control over small movements. It's also a closed chain workout, so there's a lot of control being ingrained in you. So when you go out onto the floor with free weights, you're conditioned to better form already once you get to that point. So I just think that's a safer way to start a workout routine. So maybe we'd start with Pilates and then start branching out into the general gym area with the free weights.
So how...
More open chain workouts.
We're talking workout to workout, or are we talking 3 or 4 weeks on the reformer and then venture out?
I think you could do it workout to workout. You could do that. You could do like a bicep curl on the reformer and then show them how you could do it with a free weight, something really basic like that. I really gauge what they like too. I think that's important. I think you should enjoy your workout. So if they're more comfortable in the Pilates room or Pilates reformer and that's what they want to focus on, I kind of let them make that decision.
Do you assign them cardio after?
Totally, yes. I always encourage cardio. Always, always, always. Especially if they've been cleared by their doctor. They say, okay, maybe you should go walk before or after our session.
So let's say Betty is going out of town and wants to work out on her own
uh-huh.
at the hotel or something like that. has her own gym. What do you recommend they do while you're not supervising? What's the safest thing they can get involved in to keep their routine going?
There's a lot of exercises on the reformer that translate to mat work, mat Pilates.
Just on a yoga mat?
Just on a yoga mat. If you want, you can add like rubber bands to it, resistance bands to it. So I would just say, hey, look, these are the exact same shapes and spaces that we're doing on the reformer. Let's try and do a few things on a mat so you get a feel for how it is in more of an open chain workout where you're not on a machine. You can get a feel for it just using your own body weight and just giving them a little bit of a preview of how to do it on their own.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the complications that come up working out while you're pregnant? Because, I mean, just regular healthy people encounter, maybe not injuries, but pinched nerves, strained muscles, pulled muscles, sore muscles, anything. What pregnancy related comes up? Because I'm sure there's a handful of more things.
Yeah. Okay. So the first hurdle you're going to get through, I would think, especially in the first trimester, is your energy is going to be zapped. You're not going to want to work out. You're not going to feel your best. You may have morning sickness. Both of my pregnancies have been completely different. My first pregnancy, I felt fine, had no morning sickness, maybe like 2 days, so that didn't really affect me. Second pregnancy, horrible morning sickness, and just exhausted, tired, finding the motivation just to work out. This is just, these are just symptoms of pregnancy. They're not even a complication from working out or a strained muscle. So I think pregnant women have a lot of different hurdles they have to jump over and get through just to make it to the gym. So that's another thing to take in consideration, just being patient with yourself if you are pregnant and just doing what you can to be physically fit, whatever that is. If it's just a walk around your neighborhood, it's better than nothing.
And why is that? Because muscularly, I can't imagine that being a big deal. Is it just like a oxygen blood flow type of situation? Like, why does that help the baby?
What, walking?
Just walking in general, or exercising in general.
Just anything that's going to get your blood circulating, anything that's going to improve your circulation. It's going to improve blood flow to your baby, to your uterus.
That's because it says allow more nutrients to get to your baby?
It could, yeah.
Oxygen, it makes sense.
It can, yeah, because of your placenta being the main source of nutritional support to the fetus, to your child. That makes complete sense. Yeah, I would agree with that. It being...
Yeah. Okay, so morning sickness, all that first trimester. Second trimester, what is the catch there? What are the complications at that point?
So the second trimester, if you're lucky, a lot of people refer to it as the honeymoon phase, the honeymoon trimester, because you start feeling a little bit normal and your morning sickness usually subsides. So you're probably feeling okay at this point in your pregnancy, if you're a lucky pregnant person. And if that is true, then you're probably starting to feel a little bit stronger in your workout. So you may be able to pick up the pace a little bit.
Because you have a little baby helping you lift the weight.
No, you can pick up like maybe a little bit. Maybe you can do a little bit more weights on the weight room. I'm not saying like going crazy here, but maybe just upping the poundage, a pound or two on upper body stuff. Simple little adjustments, little increases.
You're going to feel... having a boy, are you going to be stronger than if you're having a girl?
No.
Checking, covering the bases.
Nope. It doesn't work that way. Although they do say you do consume more calories and you expend more calories if you're pregnant with a boy. That is a little tidbit there.
Makes sense. Is it because the boy has more testosterone, so he's hungrier?
You guys already start draining us early.
Oh, boy. Is it true that baby girls steal your beauty?
That's awful. No, I don't know who started that one.
Okay, third trimester. The term lower ligament pain is always a thing that I think about.
Round ligament?
Round ligament, I'm sorry.
Round ligament pain,
it's low, so I think lower ligament pain.
No, yeah, it can be...
So break that down, because I think a lot of people...
Oh, God, there's so much...
women, it probably freaks them out.
Well, let's go back to second trimester really quick.
Okay.
Because I also think second trimester is a part of the pregnancy where you start to see your body start changing. You'll start gaining more weight. And it can be a little scary getting on the scale and seeing that number go up. Just that in and of itself, it can be somewhat not...
Because you know it's gonna happen.
No, I know, but it's also shocking to people like who haven't. Okay, well,
it's because y'all all have very superficial husbands that judge y'all.
No, that's not what I'm trying to get at. I think it's usually when you work out, here's what I'm trying to say. Usually when you work out, you start to lose weight, right? So if this is something that's new for you, if you're starting a workout routine when you're pregnant, it's like the opposite. You're feeling good, but you're not seeing that reward on the scale. So part of it's kind of like, oh God, I'm still gaining weight even though I'm working out. But you have to just keep reminding yourself it's because you're pregnant and you're supposed to gain weight, and that's completely normal and healthy.
But you don't build more muscle while you're pregnant, right?
You can, yes.
I know you can build muscle all the time compared to just a regular workout routine, just starting to work out when you're not pregnant. Mm-hmm. Women don't gain more muscle working out pregnant compared to when they're not pregnant, right? Like it's not a big jump in.
No, your body's trying to be efficient. Your body's trying to, give as much energy to the baby, to the fetus.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is when women start a workout routine, some women, obviously not all of them, but every now and then one will come in the gym, say like, I want to work out and lift weights, but I don't want to get bulky. You're not going to get more bulky while you're pregnant. You're not going to get bulky, period.
No.
That's the way you're listening to this.
No.
You're not going to get bulky, period. But is that risk of getting bulky a real thing when you're pregnant? Or is it still essentially not a factor even when you're pregnant?
I don't think that's a factor. I don't think you have to worry about getting bulky.
Right. So the weight added is not just a bunch of muscle.
No, it's not. It's like water retention. It's baby. Honestly, it's just extra poundage. It's extra fat that your body is just storing for post-pregnancy, postpartum. When you start nursing, you're going to need those fat stores for your milk production. So it's all super normal and totally, it's a good sign. It's a healthy pregnancy to gain weight. That's what your body is made to do. So I just want to mention that during my first pregnancy, I had horrible, it's called SPD, symphysis pubic disorder. So it's like your pubic bone feels like, imagine a wishbone being pulled apart.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this.
So it has to do with, your extra weight gain and also the shift in balance. If you're shifting your weight over to one leg more so than the other, it feels like your pubic bone is being, torn apart like a wishbone. So that was very shocking. That was something that nobody had prepared me for during my first pregnancy. It hurt really bad. So I actually had to... There were exercises that I was doing for a long time that I had to stop doing, which I don't think is the norm for a conditioned athlete or a conditioned person in general to stop something that they've been doing forever before they got pregnant. One of the things that I had to stop was lunges and squats. Those really would trigger it to the point where I would have to sit down, like I couldn't walk. So I think that's kind of a rare
situation.
Yeah, it's a rare situation, but that's something worth mentioning because I think when it happened, it shocked me, and everyone I talked to had no idea. They couldn't relate. They didn't know what I was talking about.
What causes SPD?
So the SPD, from my understanding, it's located in your pelvis. So one of the causes for SPD, symphysis pubis dysfunction, is sometimes your pregnant body will do too much of a good job in releasing a hormone called relaxin. Mm-hmm. And relaxin is a hormone that loosens ligaments around your pelvic bone.
All ligaments though, right? Not just around your pelvic bone?
All ligaments, but specifically around your pelvic bone for this dysfunction that I'm talking about. And it causes a ton of instability in the pelvic joint, which causes a lot of pain. But yeah, the relaxin, the hormone itself, it's throughout the whole body. So you may notice that you're extra flexible. That's probably why you have that hormone coursing through you in preparation for childbirth, for opening up your hips, getting you ready to open up.
So how do you control some of these ladies from stretching too much?
That's a really good question. I usually just give them a reminder, especially the abductor-adductor machine, the inner outer thigh machine. That is one that I'm really careful with just because people are like, oh wow, I'm feeling like I can go a little wider, and you have to remind them, remember, let's keep it to where you usually do it, because you have relaxin going through your body right now, and you can create this dysfunction that I was just talking about. So trying to gauge where your client or where you start and keep it there.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to part 1 of our prenatal fitness podcast with me and my wife Sarah. We're going to be dropping a part 2 in about 2 days, so if you enjoyed this one, you'll enjoy the second one just as much. We'll dive into the third trimester and everything that goes along with that. If you're new to the podcast, please make sure to go to the Apple Pod Center, subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and even write a little review if you have some time. You can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Quick Sessions Podcast. Make sure to give us a little follow, and you can also get all the episodes on www.quicksessionspodcast.com. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and hope you enjoy part 2.